At Investor Day 2023, Tesla made some pretty big claims. They said they'll be able to slash production costs massively in the coming years. But one of the things that really stuck out to me was this slide right here. Tesla is claiming total cost of ownership per mile over 5 years is more on a Toyota Corolla compared to a base Model 3. I'm going to put that claim to the test, and they're saying the next generation, it doesn't say next gen Model 3 or next gen Model Y, or if it's just like the next very affordable, that $25,000 Tesla we're all waiting for, it could be that model. And with seemingly no numbers to back up this claim, I ran my own numbers to find out if the Model 3 is really more affordable over 5 years than the Toyota Corolla. So I made a spreadsheet, and if you guys really like this sort of breakdown, make sure to smash the like button and make sure to subscribe to Kirky Cars, where I talk about electrified vehicles as well as industry auto news pertaining to electrification here on the channel. All right, so what we have on the screen is quite a bit going on. I compare costs in California, Florida. I live in Florida. In California, that's where they sell the most Teslas. Tesla Model 3 just passed the Camry, for example, this past year in sales there. And the Model Y has passed the RAV4 there for a couple of years now. And then I also compare average in the United States on average fuel costs and electricity costs. But we're going to start in California. And California has not only the federal tax rebate there for an electric vehicle, $7,500, they also have the $2,000 state rebate for any electric vehicle. So what we have on the top is if you're driving 7,500 miles a year, 10,000 miles a year, 12,500 miles a year, and 15,000 miles a year. And of course, the more miles you drive, the more beneficial it will be to have a more efficient vehicle, because you need to fuel it either with gasoline or electricity a lot more often. We are comparing the Corolla LE, and notice they don't mention what Corolla this is, whether it's a hybrid or not. I'm just assuming it's maybe the base Corolla. It's really hard to say. So I have the base Corolla here because we're comparing against the base Tesla Model 3. We also have the base hybrid LE Corolla. We also have the Prius LE, and I'm still planning on getting the Prius here on the channel. It's just, it's a process. So stay tuned. I'll have it on my main channel as well. And we also have the Prius Prime, which does not look good in any situation here, assuming the price is what it is. Okay, and of course we have the Model 3 here in the base form, rear-wheel drive, not quite 300 miles of range, but it actually is faster than all these other cars here on the list. So the effective price here doesn't include taxes because that varies from state to state. It also doesn't have registration costs. I'm not going to go down that route. All I'm comparing here is destination plus MSRP. And I think Tesla has one more. If we go to the Tesla's builder here, they have an order fee of $250. So after all the tax rebates in California, the Tesla Model 3 comes out to be about $35,190, way more expensive than the base Corolla and even the base Corolla hybrid. Now, we don't know what the Prius Prime is going to cost, but I'm assuming maybe $40,000, and then it gets a $1,000 tax rebate in California. So the base Corolla LE gets 34 miles per gallon. The new hybrid actually went down in efficiency, even though it has more power. So it's 47 miles per gallon now. And Prius LE, 57 miles per gallon. And the cost of gas at the time of this recording, average in California, is $4.89. That will vary depending on if you're in LA or Sacramento or something like that. And the Tesla Model 3 base here is going to be, well, I can just erase this because I created my own column here for money in dollars per kilowatt hour. So it costs about 30 cents per kilowatt hour in California. It's one of the most expensive states for energy. Hawaii is probably more than this. I also am assuming the Tesla Model 3 is getting about 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is on the upper end of efficiency. I'm just going to put it in the best light possible in terms of efficiency, as well as these guys here, because we know in winter, the efficiencies of hybrids, even gasoline engines, as well as electric vehicles, it does go down quite a bit. So I'm just painting these guys in best case scenario, whether it's a gasoline car, a hybrid, or a fully electric for efficiency. So when we're talking about fuel costs here, you can just see at 7,500 miles a year, at 34 miles per gallon, the base Corolla LE, it costs over $1,000 per year to fill, where the Prius Prime and the Tesla Model 3 are pretty much identical. And what I did with the Prius Prime efficiency is that I used its 4 miles per kilowatt hour for 75% 5% of its driving, and then the other 25% at the 52 miles per gallon that I'm estimating for the base Prius Prime. Now, we also have estimated yearly maintenances as well as estimated insurance per year, and I'm getting these numbers from caredge.com. I looked up each individual model on the list today. This is the 10-year maintenance list for the Model 3, for example. And if we scroll down to insurance, this is the most expensive vehicle on the list we have today for insurance, about $2,200 per year. All right, so long story short, in California, if you're only driving 7,500 miles per year, after 10 years, the Corolla base is still about $10,000 in the total cost of ownership for the Tesla Model 3. In 5 years, it's about $12,000 cheaper. If we double the miles here and go to 15,000 miles, cost of ownership for the Corolla base LE is $67,000 and the Model 3 base is $72,000. So a $5,000 difference. And if you look at the Corolla Hybrid, though, it is a $10,000 difference just because it is so efficient. And you can see the Prius bringing in the cost differences as well with the extra 10 miles per gallon there. So what about in the state of Florida that I reside? The energy prices are much different here. Gasoline is much cheaper, almost like $1.70 or so cheaper. And you also have half the price for energy. So it'll be much cheaper to run your cars here. And I don't know what the insurance costs would be state to state, like I mentioned. I just kept the insurance the same as well as the estimated yearly maintenance. So at just 7,500 miles a year for 10 years, the base Corolla is about $15,000 cheaper, almost $16,000 cheaper than we have for the Model 3 base. Now, a couple things here. In the state of Florida, we don't have an EV tax credit or plug-in hybrid tax credit. So that's not going to benefit the Model 3 or the Prius plug-in Prime here. What it will benefit, though, is the hybrids here, getting crazy miles per gallon. So you can see after 10 years, the hybrid Corolla is coming out ahead, even just driving 7,500 miles a year above the Corolla LE. Now, when we scale that all the way up to 15,000 miles per year, Corolla, $60,000 cost of ownership, and Tesla Model 3 at $69,000, Prius Prime right there at $69,000, Prius under $60,000 at $58,000, and the Corolla Hybrid LE coming at a frugal $56,000. The Corolla Hybrid base model is by far the best deal long term here. It's not going to be the most fancy out of the cars on this list. It's not going to be the most sexy. It's not going to be the quickest, but in terms of frugality and ownership, that car will definitely cost the least. Now, heading to the USA average gas price in America that I'm recording here in early March is about $3.50 per gallon, and energy prices are a little bit cheaper on average across the country compared to Florida, and way cheaper than California at about 14 cents per kilowatt hour. Now, at 10 years, the gap shrinks because of the efficiency of the Model 3, but just check out how efficient that Corolla Hybrid base model is, still coming in about $10,000 to $11,000 cheaper than the Model 3 base. Okay, so best case scenario, what would happen if Tesla brought out this affordable vehicle? They're building this new plant in Mexico that's supposed to be twice the size of Giga Austin. And of course, manufacturing prices they're projecting to plummet, but also labor prices will help that out massively if you're building in Mexico. And so this Tesla Model 3 or whatever they call this $25,000 Tesla after the tax credit could only cost about $17,500. And this would massively benefit the cost of ownership here versus a Corolla Hybrid, for example. So driving at 7,500 miles per year, it's about $2,000 to $3,000 cheaper than a Hybrid LE. Then if we scale all the way to 15,000 miles per year over 10 years, the total cost of ownership would be about $8,000 more for the Hybrid Corolla versus this tiny Tesla Model 2 or whatever it would be. And I also have the Bolt EV, the base model in here, because it does come close to that $25,000 entry price for an EV. And really, it's not going to be a benefit to you if you're only driving about 7,500 miles a year versus a Corolla Hybrid LE. It's essentially a wash when it comes to 10-year cost of ownership. I don't actually have accurate numbers here for estimated yearly maintenance. I'm assuming it would be close to the Tesla Model 3. And I also don't have insurance numbers, but I'm guessing it's also close to the Tesla Model 3 here as well. But when you scale all the way to 15,000 miles, you come up ahead on a Bolt EV over the Corolla Hybrid LE. The thing is, the Corolla Hybrid LE, you're always going to have the benefit of not worrying about finding a charging station. We know the Bolt is one of the slowest charging EVs out there. It's essentially a garage charger, and that's about it. The Model 2 and the Model 3 will have the supercharger network available to them, be able to charge a much higher rate. So those would be the EVs, I guess, to get if you plan on taking trips outside of your home region. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Tesla definitely blowing smoke, at least in my opinion. And maybe there's some calculations I'm getting wrong, or I just haven't, there's some factors that I haven't accounted for that would make the Model 3 cheaper to own than a Corolla, but I'm just not seeing it with the current prices that we have for both of these vehicles and the current cost of insurance, fuel, energy, and maintenance. And I also didn't mention, if you're financing these vehicles, the cost of ownership on all of them will go up as you're paying interest. That was a lot of numbers. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, hit the like button, make sure you subscribe. I'll put the link to this spreadsheet down in the description below so you guys can go ahead and soak in these numbers. But I'll see you guys in the comments. Thank you again for watching. Have a great day and peace.